Hey YouTube, what's going on? This is Mako Abyss coming at you with my new February 2018 Ancient Gear deck profile. Now for those of you who don't know, the newest Duelist Pack Ancient Millennium has been released, which gave us a bunch of new Ancient Gear support, new Crystal Beast support, some Ancient Bandit Key support, Weevil Underwood support, and Ojama support, and Pegasus support. Now, I have been lucky enough to acquire a good amount of the support needed for the Ancient Gear deck out of there, so this is my deck profile with the following cards I have managed to collect. So, with that being said and do, please like, subscribe, and hopefully we can give you more videos. Now, let's get right to the deck profile. Alright. As you can probably tell, the headliner of this deck is, of course, Ancient Gear Golem. Now, Ancient Gear Golem is the headliner of this deck. As I'm sure you'll know from much of the support that has just been released, that Ancient Gear Golem is the main focus of the new support, which is not surprising considering the fact for the longest time Ancient Gear Golem was the headliner of the Ancient Gear archetype to begin with. So I'm actually very happy to see him being brought back into the fucking spotlight where he belongs. So this deck runs 2 copies of Ancient Gear Golem. We run 1 copy of Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound. That is it for your basic level 8 plays. This deck doesn't really run any rank 8 XZs anyway, because you're going to want to be doing more fusion summoning with this deck than anything else. So, alright. We'll go moving right along. We have a full play set of Ancient Gear Wyvern. This card is very important to the deck. He's the searcher of the deck. He searches out anything in its name that has Ancient Gear in its name. In this case, it can search out your Ancient Gear Fusion, it can search out your Catapult, it can search out your Ancient Gear Golems, it can search out anything that is needed for your current plays at the time. Me personally, I like a fun little combo that goes off of him, where you play him, you search out your Ancient Gear box. Ancient Gear box's effect lets you add a Earth monster with 500 attack power or less to your hand, and then doing that, so you grab your Ancient Gear gadget. Now, what's so great about that is, if you're already holding your Ancient Gear Golem, or your Ancient Gear Fusion, or an Ancient Gear Golem in your hand, you can go right into your ultimate Ancient Gear Golem if you need to. Now then, we run a playset of Ancient Gear Gadget. I'm considering dropping this to 2 of, only because I haven't found much of a need to be running 3 at this time. But I like having 3 of, because like I said, he's a good tutor card to search out for your Ancient Gear box. He's the main search card for your Ancient Gear box, and 2,000 defense. His effect states that when he is normal or he's special summoned, you manage to select a spell, trap, or monster effect during the battle phase. Your opponent cannot activate such effects. Then we move on to a playset of Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. Ancient Gear Hunting Hound is essentially your fusion card of the deck. He is like a monster version of Polymerization for Ancient Gear monsters, and when you summon him, he burns your opponent for 600 attack power, or 600 damage, sorry. Alright. We then run 2 copies of Ancient Gear Box. Ancient Gear Box, like I said, is a fun little tuner card I like playing with, where you search it out with your Wyvern. Ancient Gear Box's effect states when it's sent from the deck to your hand while drawing it. You can search your deck for a Earth monster with 500 attack and or defense and add it to your hand. In this case, the only search target you can pick is your Ancient Gear gadget. So, plus he's a 2,000 defense monster and he's a level 4. So if it comes right down to it, people, you can play him in defense mode. Alright. Moving on to a little bit of the new support, we have 2 copies of Ancient Gear Frame. Like I said, the new support circulates heavily around Ancient Gear Golem. This card is no exception. What it does is when you can discard 1 card from your hand to add an Ancient Gear Golem or a spell or trap card that has named Ancient Gear Golem in its effect text to your hand, and then if he's sent from the field to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 3 Ancient Gear Golem, and or 3 Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound. Now, I like him. I'm still testing him out. He's fun, and what I love about him is that he's your searcher, another searcher for the deck. So he gets your Golem, he gets your Ancient Gear Fusion, and you just often go with fusion summoning with this guy. He's a lot of fun, actually. All right. Now, that's it for the actual Ancient Gear support in terms of monsters. I'm running 1 copy of Ghost Ogre Snow Rabbit. Relatively new card to the deck. I've never ran Ghost Ogre in this deck before, but with the way things have been going as of late, I figured I should run at least 1 hand trap to get the deck up and going. This is subject to change due to if I can get my hands on another one. I may drop the Ancient Gear Gadget for it, but what I love about this card is it ruins so many of your opponent's plays. I'm sure a lot of people know what it does, knows what she does, and I'm not saying you will, but it is a tuner in case you need to summon it. But I don't think you'd ever really summon it. Alright, we're moving right on to spell cards. 3 copies of Geartown. Now, I'm sure a lot of people also remember what Geartown does. Geartown is you reduce the tribute cost for your Ancient Gear monsters by 1, and then if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you're allowed to special summon an Ancient Gear monster from the deck. We now run a playset of Ancient Gear Catapult. This card is so important because this is what gets your Ancient Gear Golem to the field instantly. You pop your Geartown, you summon an Ancient Gear monster off of Geartown's effect, and then off of Catapult itself, because it summons a monster ignoring its summoning conditions, you summon your Ancient Gear Golem. Now, if you have Golem in play, I'm sure you should probably getting Golem to the field is very important in this deck, as I'm sure many people know. The only drawback is you have to have no monsters in play when you play Ancient Gear Catapult, which is fine. You can always just play your Geartown if you're holding it, then pop it with your Catapult, and then you summon your 2 monsters, and then you still have your normal summon for the turn if you do it that way. So 3 monsters, and think about it. If you're holding Ancient Gear Fusion or Polymerization in your hand, you already got your ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. Alright. We now run 2 copies of the new Fusion card itself, Ancient Gear Fusion. This card I'm considering 2 of as plenty, only because it may be a big search card, but I like it as 2 of. I think it's stable as 2 of. You fusion summon an Ancient Gear Fusion monster from your extra deck, and if you use Ancient Gear Golem as one of the fusion material, what you do is you're allowed to take their other material for that said fusion from your actual deck. So what I like to do is I like to use this with my Ancient Gear Golem, search my deck for my Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound, and my other Ancient Gear Golem, and go right into Megaton Ancient Gear Golem, and then just start stomping away in my opponent's field with them. We run 2 copies of Ancient Gear Fortress. Ancient Gear Fortress is a fun card. I like it because when you summon an Ancient Gear monster, they're protected. Your opponent can't touch them with card effects that way. So you summon them, and if I remember right, I believe this even gets around Solemn Strike, because it's upon their summoning, they can't be affected by spells and trap cards. Now, I'm not really sure if that is how the effect is applied, but from recent plays, I found that it does work that way. And then the other part of this effect is when this is sent from the field to the graveyard, especially summon an Ancient Gear monster from the graveyard. So you can get your wyvern back and then go off of your combo plays with him, or you can get back your Ancient Gear frame and you need to get your Ancient Gear Golem to your hand because you have your fusion in your hand. You can just go that way. Alright. 1 Terraforming. I'm sure everyone knows what this does. This is your search card for your field spells. In this case, this is your search spell for your Geartown. I would run 3 of it, but I felt 1 was good enough. 1 copy of Limited Removal. 1 copy of Overload Fusion. 1 copy of Raigeki, of course. Gotta have your Field Wipe Engine in there. 1 copy of Twin Twister for back row destruction. And then 1 copy of Foolish Barrel of Goods to get your spells and traps to the graveyard. In this case, you want to use it on Ancient Gear Catapult, because Ancient Gear Catapult has an effect that applies from the graveyard which is you can remove it from game to pop a card on your field, or no, you remove it from game to summon an Ancient Gear token, and then it lets you special summon a monster from to the field. Alright. Moving right along to trap cards. The trap engine ain't very big in this deck. We run 1 copy of Solemn Warning, and then we go 2 copies of the Solemn Strike. Now, this deck I am planning on running Solemn Judgment. Solemn Judgment I have actually considered running in this deck, but I felt that paying half my life points is maybe good in certain situations, but I don't want to have to pay that heavy cost for this type of a deck, so I decided to go against playing one of each Solemn and go 2 strikes for this one. We then play 2 copies of Floodgate Trap Hole. Now here's the thing. Ancient Gear monsters work on piercing damage. A lot of them work heavily on piercing damage mechanic. So what you want to do is from the very start, you want to send your cards from send your opponent's monsters into defense mode as fast as you can. And what better way than automatically, as soon as they're summoned, they hit defense mode. Plus, your opponent can't change their battle position or anything like that due to this card's effect. And then to round off the deck, we run 2 copies of Quaking Mirror Force. Like I said, piercing damage is very important in Ancient Gears. Ancient Gears is piercing damage is really important in Ancient Gears. A lot of your Ancient Gears support, your big support, focuses on piercing damage. Mainly your Ancient Gear Golem focuses on piercing damage. So you want to be able to get your opponent's monsters to defense mode as soon as they can, and as far as I'm concerned, if they're willing to attack you, you might as well make them pay for it a little bit, you know what I mean? Alright. For the side deck, I wanted to keep a little bit of how the old deck played, so I run 2 copies of Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon. Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon was originally the headliner of this deck. He was the ace of the deck, and I felt like I needed to at least keep him around. So I run 2 copies of Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon. He's still a really good card. And, I mean, he's got 3,000 attack, 3,000 defense. He's the same stats and setup as Ancient Gear Golem. So I felt there was no need to really get rid of him. Plus, he has 2 really good effects. If he's summoned using an Ancient Gear monster, you gain piercing damage effect. And if he's summoned using a gadget monster, you get a second battle phase. And then he's got a effect that when he attacks for the turn, you automatically destroy 1 card on the field. So think about it. You can destroy your own Geartown that way. We go next from here, 2 gold gadget and 2 silver gadget. I felt like I wanted to keep these guys around. They're pretty fun. You play 1, you search your deck for another level, or you play 1, you can special summon another level 4 machine monster. If one of them leaves the field, you search your deck for a gadget monster, being a gold gadget or a silver gadget or Ancient Gear gadget even, and you summon it right to the field. Plus, I've done some pretty decent rank 4 plays off these guys. We run 1 copy of Power Bond, 1 copy of Polymerization. I had to keep Poly around because, you know, I may eventually want to try and go off of Ultimate Pounds effect, which is add Polymerization to the hand. Power Bond, I'm sure everyone knows what that does. It's fusion summon a machine fusion monster, double its attack power per turn, and then whatever it was doubled, you take at the end phase of your turn. Alright. 1 copy of Book of Moon. Like I said before, piercing damage with Ancient Gears, it just goes together so well. You have to be able to run it effectively. And why not shift your opponent's monster on their turn? I mean, Book of Moon is just an amazing card altogether. I would love it if this thing went back to a playset. And the final card of our side deck, I need to keep this around. It's Ancient Gear Reborn. This is your monster reborn of the deck. I felt like there wasn't enough room for it inside of the actual main deck. And what it does is when you have no monsters, you control no monsters, especially some Ancient Gear monsters from the graveyard, it gains 500 attack power, and yeah. Alright, moving on to the extra deck. We run 2 copies of Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. Yes, I still have my originals. I'm so thankful I hung on to them after all these years. 2 copies of Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, 2 copies of the new guy, Megaton Ancient Gear Golem. If you don't know what Megaton Ancient Gear Golem does, it's pretty relatively simple. You need 3 Ancient Gear monsters to summon him. And then, if this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate spell and trap card effects until the end of the damage step. If this card was summoned using 2 or more Ancient Gear Golem or Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound as material, it can attack up to that many times during the battle phase. If this face-up fusion card in its owner's control leaves the field by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem from your extra deck, ignoring its summon conditions. Which means, people, this thing can attack up to 3 times. Which means if you use 3 Ancient Gear Golems to summon this, or Ancient Gear Golem Ultimate Pound, or either combination of the 2, you can attack 3 times with him, and that's 9,900 damage. That's a lot. Alright. Next card of our extra deck, we have the Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. He is one of your bigger powerhouses of the deck. He's been basically the game ender for all the times I've played with this deck. He ends the game relatively easy off of piercing damage and the fact that you can attack every monster your opponent has. So, plus he's immune to, he can't be affected by the effects of spell and trap effects, and basically if your opponent wants to beat him down, they gotta be able to whip out a monster with enough attack power to fucking go toe to toe with him. Which is still relatively easy to this day, so he's not completely broken like I thought he used to be, but he's still fun. Alright, to round off our Ancient Gear fusions, we run a playset of Ancient Gear Howitzer. Ancient Gear Howitzer it requires 2 Ancient Gear monsters to summon him. He burns your opponent for 1,000 damage, and then if he leaves, he's unaffected by all effects, and then if he leaves the field, you search your deck for any Ancient Gear card and throw it in your hand. So, he's a really important search mechanic of the deck. I don't go into him quite as often, but I go into him when the time is needed, which has been, as of late, a lot. We run 2 copies of number 59, the Crooked Cook. Crooked Cook is important to the deck because he's got his effect to be able to burn your own cards. Makes it very important for being able to burn your Geartown or your Ancient Gear Fortress. You burn those, you get your monsters out, and then Crooked Cook's other effect is he's immune to everything if there's no other cards in play. If he's the only thing you have on the field, he's immune to everything. I really like him, and he's done a lot of good for me. Next, we round off the extra deck with our Link Engine. 3 copies of Mrs. Radiant. 3 copies of Mrs. Radiant, and 1 copy of Castel, because it's Castel and you want to be able to pop your opponent's cards as fast as freaking possible. I mean, why not run Castel? I'm sure a lot of people know what Mrs. Radiant should do by now. When it leaves the field, you add an Earth monster from the graveyard back to your hand, and all Earth monsters you have on the field, while it's on the field, gain 500 attack and defense points. Alright, and then we're going to wrap this video up with the final 3 cards of the deck. Probably the most important card to the deck. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's just tokens. It's 3 Ancient Gear tokens. That's all it is. It's not important, people. I mean, I like having them around. They're fun. Catapult gets them out. You can use it for link summoning if you want. It's just tokens, people. They're just tokens. Alright. This is Mako Abyss saying please like, subscribe, and I hope I can see more deck profiles out there for people building Ancient Gears and stuff like that. I want to see Ancient Gears finally make a comeback, especially with this new support. I mean, it's really important. And like I said, please like, subscribe. I'll have the deck list in the description below if you just don't want to watch this video at all. But please like and subscribe. Regardless, this is Mako Abyss signing out.